A year and a half ago, we left our jobs in Canada and decided to pursue our dream of one day buying land and creating a regenerative permaculture paradise and community. We had no idea which direction to start, and our lives before looked nothing like the one we envisioned. So we decided to take a complete 180, leave everything behind, and dive into community living and learning about permaculture in Thailand. I think a lot of people want to change the way they are currently living and get out of the daily grind. But this decision can be an incredibly terrifying one that we often feel paralyzed to make. While we don't regret anything we have done so far, there are definitely some things we learn along the way that we wish we had figured out before we made the big leap. So today we want to share with you 5 things that we wish we knew before starting this crazy journey, and share some advice from what we have learned along the way. So I think the first thing I wish I knew is that it's going to be a roller coaster. There's going to be extreme highs and extreme lows. There's going to be so many ups and downs in this journey. Obviously life has ups and downs, but it seems to feel accentuated when you're following an unconventional life path. One day you will feel like you're on top of the world and everything is going right and the universe is in alignment with every choice you make. And then the next day you could feel like everything is going the complete opposite of that, and you're questioning why you did this in the first place. I think just knowing that this is a completely normal feeling when you're stepping into something unknown helps a lot. Another thing that really helps me deal with the emotional ups and downs is having some self-care routines every day. Just something that I do consistently that is good for my health. So for me, I work out and I take ice baths pretty much every day. And that's a non-negotiable. It's just something I do. Even on days when I don't want to do those things, I know that they benefit my mental, physical, and spiritual health. And ultimately, they help create resilience in myself to be able to deal with the highs and lows. Our journey has been filled with so many ups and downs throughout this last year and a half. We've gone from traveling to farming to community living to living in our own little rural homestead here. Within that, there's been so many unknowns for us. So there are days where it feels like this is amazing and this is what we're supposed to be doing. And then there's other days where we feel like maybe we should just pack up and leave. Maybe we're not meant for this. Maybe this is too hard. I think the thing that I wish I realized 2 years ago is that this is completely normal and it's going to feel like this, and that's okay. Just knowing that alone is enough to make you feel better. But something that has really helped me in the more recent months is just focusing on the day and focusing on the activities that I can control. If every day I know what I need to do to move closer to my vision, and I plan that out in terms of activities, if I need to write, if I need to garden, if I need to be a better husband, those things are planned into my day, and I focus on that. When you do that, you're just focusing on the day at hand. You're not thinking too far into the future, you're not worrying about the past. So I think the advice that I would have given myself 2 years ago is just take it day by day. Have a vision of where you want to go and focus on the activities, the skills, the present moment, and let the rest just figure itself out.
I think one of the things that I have realized since kind of starting this journey and taking the leap towards our dream is how much that dream is actually going to change. Hello. Hello. What we think or fantasize or envision something being like is not how it's actually going to end up being. And even in the process of pursuing our dream, we realize so many things. The fantasy and the reality come much more into focus. Hi. I think realizing that and accepting it and being okay with it, knowing that what you set out to do and what actually ends up happening, or how your dream or your vision for your life or whatever you want to do ends up shifting as you learn more about yourself and about the realities of pursuing what you want to do. What's possible, what's capable, just priorities and things change, and that's totally okay. I think we had a lot of ideas about like what we wanted to do, what we wanted to pursue, how we wanted to live. And then as we actually moved towards that, we realized things about ourselves and about the reality of that. Hey, you're crushing my plants. One of those things is like farming and gardening. And I think so many people told us that like farming and growing your own food is like very difficult. And it really is. And I love it. I actually love gardening. I love growing food. I love being able to pick fresh things and plant things and just see those things change and evolve over time. There's a lot of patience that you learn. But through this process, I realized that I really don't want to be a market gardener. I love just being a gardener and trying to grow things for ourselves, but providing things for people on a commercial size basis is not what I'm interested in doing. I think that became really clear living at Pun Pun and living in community and just seeing, yeah, what a huge job it is to provide food for a lot of people. You realize how much you eat and how much you consume. And it makes you really grateful for farmers and people that are doing that job. So as we move closer to our dream, a lot of things have just become clarified or crystallized. And that dream keeps on kind of refining itself. If you remain flexible and open, there is a gift and an opportunity to see the different possibilities. Things are going to change. I think that's one of the biggest lessons, just being okay with that change and not holding yourself rigidly to this certain idea of how something is going to be. I think it really makes you think more about the values underpinning what you want to do. Maybe we have a dream of having like a big, bustling, abundant like eco community that's thriving all together and people are growing food and making different products, and we have like basically an alternate economy in society. Maybe that's not actually how things end up going. But what are the values that are underpinning that vision? Is like freedom, autonomy, connection to nature. And so as you journey, you see what are the ways that I can move closer in alignment with those values, even if this picture isn't materializing exactly as I envisioned before. So I think that's what we keep on doing. Our dream keeps evolving and shifting and realizing that there's so many more potentials and possibilities that we don't even conceive of until we start walking down the path.
I think the third thing we had wished we had learned before we started this journey was we could have started before we took a big leap.
There's a lot of smaller things that you can do in your life before actually making a massive change of, okay, I need to move or buy land or switch careers or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. That there are smaller things that you can do to work towards that goal to prepare you. I think we were just felt very caught up in our own cycle, our own thing that we were doing, and it felt like we needed to make a massive change. And maybe that's what we needed to do, because that's what we did. That shifted our mindset, shifted everything for us to really get going on this journey. But I think for a lot of people, that's not going to be what they do, or that's not going to work for them.
I think we were very busy before we took this leap, so it just seemed like we had to do a 180, but I think looking back, that wasn't probably the case, and I think anyone can start developing the skills, the abilities, and the knowledge that you need, whatever that leap is in your life. And for us, it was starting some sort of permaculture paradise community center, but we had never gardened before.
Here comes the rain.
For us, we wanted to start this big permaculture community sort of project in the future, and we had no skills. We had barely gardened. We wanted to start this YouTube channel, but we had never filmed anything before, edited anything before, talked to a camera before. So these are all things that we could have started before making that leap. We could have been making videos in our bedroom. We could have been just practicing talking to a camera. We could have joined a community garden, things like this. So yeah, I think my advice would be, whatever your dream is, figure out the skills and the knowledge that you need to get closer to it, and start in any way you can right now. Start small.
It makes a difference in just your understanding, your confidence, and yeah, I think it really helps you determine what you're really interested in and take something out of just, oh, that would be so nice to do, into, okay, I'm actually doing something, and connecting with other people that are doing those things.
It's going to make your journey so much easier. It's going to make taking that leap so much easier. For us, we basically had to start from zero with all of these skills and catch up as quickly as we could. And that put a lot of pressure and strain on parts of our lives.
I discounted those smaller steps that would bring me closer to the people, the knowledge, the experience, and ultimately the lifestyle that I want to have. That is something that doesn't require you quitting everything and making a complete 180-degree change on your life. It can really be something that you're integrating into the life that you're already living.
I think we tell ourselves excuses, like we don't have the time, or I'll have more time when I'm not working, when I decide to make the jump to something else. I'll have more time to do it, so I'll just learn it faster. It'll just be easier that way, but I don't think that's the case. And yeah, had we had some of these skills and just like starting these things before we actually made a huge change in our life, I think it would have taken a lot of pressure off and made things much easier. So I think another thing I wish I knew before we started this journey is that resistance is a great compass for what you should be doing. It's not something to be avoided. When you start out on your own journey, you're going to experience so many new things, and so many things are going to come up for you. And you're going to feel the feeling of resistance. There's going to be a lot of hard decisions to make. There's going to be a lot of roads that you need to travel down. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to percolate up from the subconscious and face you. It's going to seem overwhelming. And there's going to be a lot of hard things that you're going to have to do. There's going to be a lot of things that you need to change about yourself. And within those things comes a feeling of resistance. All the hard things come with feelings of resistance. We immediately want to shy away from it. We feel like that's a road we don't want to travel down, that's a feeling that we shouldn't do something. And in my experience, I've found it's actually the complete opposite. For me, a feeling of resistance towards trying something new, learning something, gaining a skill, taking a new opportunity. Whenever I encounter the feeling of resistance, I know that it's something I need to pay attention to. And there's usually a benefit on the other side of that resistance that is going to bring me to the next level of my journey and my knowledge. We want to be comfortable. We want things that we do to be easy. But the truth is, if you are trying to step out of your current life and build a new one, it's not going to be easy. We need to look for these areas of resistance in our lives and pursue them. And sometimes that's just out of circumstance. When we first got to Thailand, living on rural farms, having no AC, the accommodations not being super comfortable, it was a complete 180 from the type of life we were living in Canada and also just in Thailand traveling. And it was something to get used to. It was an uncomfortable feeling at first to be surrounded by so many bugs and snakes and hot weather and hard work. And everything in me wanted to quit. Everything in me wanted to give up because it seemed too insurmountable at the time. That's that feeling of resistance. When I actually gave in to the feeling of resistance to try to overcome my uncomfortability with these things, I ended up enjoying my time so much more. This lesson comes up again and again in our lives. even with YouTube. This is something that is still difficult to do for us, to get in front of a camera, to talk to you guys, to edit the videos, to make something worth watching is a skill that we're still developing, and I cannot count how many times I actually wanted to quit. I didn't want to do this anymore because it's so hard. But we see this as a puzzle piece to something bigger that we're building in the future. And we know that it's necessary for that. So we keep doing it. We work through those feelings of resistance and face them, and we come out on the other side changed. We come out on the other side rewarded by doing so. So instead of experiencing resistance and avoiding it, I like to look at it as a compass for exactly what I need to do. And that is something I wish I knew 2 years ago.
I don't know where I'm gonna dig all these exactly. One of the most important things to remember when you are starting out on any kind of new journey, new venture, or a change is that not everybody is gonna get it. Not everyone is gonna understand why you're doing what you're doing, and people are gonna have lots of opinions about all of the above as well. This is way more extreme when you are sharing that process online, but I think it can be the same for anybody. If you're making a career change, moving, a life change, whatever decision it is, people are going to have opinions about it. And I think I've really realized that you have to be resolved within yourself and confident and sure of just what you're doing and why you're doing it, because you're probably very likely going to have to stand alone. Yeah. Okay. Can we do it under the seedlings? Let's just go to the seedlings thing. As you can see, the rain kind of kiboshed our plans for filming and planting today. Things really go from one extreme to the other here. As I was saying, some choices or dreams may be more or less accepted by society's standards, but regardless, it requires courage to do something different. Some people may be indifferent or actively criticize your decisions. Some people are going to cheer you on, albeit from the sidelines, and still others are going to jump in beside you to help you fulfill your vision. But believing wholeheartedly in what you want to do and achieve is the most important. Knowing your why is going to be the fuel that keeps you going when no one else understands.
This one is so broken.
Coming to my rescue?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
There are an infinite number of things we've learned over the past 18 months, and many, many more lessons to come. At the end of the day, though, planning, preparing, and researching only got us so far. There comes a point where you just have to go for it, because most of the learning actually happens in the doing. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and leave us a comment with your thoughts. What do you think about jumping into something new? See you next week.